Welcome back, everybody. Well, a huge rape gang bombshell story for you now that will send shivers down your spine. It has been claimed that children between the age of 9 to 14 were being trafficked for prostitution on an industrial scale across London in a massive alleged expose, the so-called willful neglect by Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, by a retired Met detective, John Wedger, in a Daily Express exclusive. The police whistleblower says that the horrific crime has been rife in London for 20 years. Many of you listening at home will be aware of the 9 separate occasions the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has dodged questions on grooming gangs. Khan, in February, also rejected a proposal for a £4.49 million independent inquiry into the presence of grooming gangs in London.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for what's a misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If you could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
Shocking, isn't it? Absolutely shocking. In this bombshell interview, Wedger claims that children were being sold in crack houses, swapped for 9 rocks of crack, then taken to hotels to have sex with builders that were working in central London. After that, the kids would then be taken to upmarket restaurants in Mayfair where they would be traded for as much as £2,000 each. He said that this was happening on a daily basis. Now, the whistleblower has told the Express that he took all the claims to senior officers. He claims his bosses stonewalled detailed reports about grooming gangs operating in Tower Hamlets, Croydon and Westminster. He said, "I was told if I ever mentioned what I'd uncovered, I would lose my home, job and children," he claimed. This would bleep the Met Police past, present and future. To support his claims, Wedger showed the Daily Express his police notebook from the Time and contemporary reports sent to his superiors, as well as his detailed statement submitted to the 2022 independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. He's now called for the mayor to resign or be immediately for the repeated removed immediately, should I say, for repeatedly refusing to accept the problem and continuing a policy of willful neglect that he felt amounted to an act of malfeasance in high office. This is damning stuff. He added, Sadiq Khan is a threat to the safety of vulnerable young children of every ethnicity and class. He's dangerous. He is the donkey leading the lions when it comes to child abuse. And with a national rape gang inquiry expected to start in the coming months, I'm asking, if found guilty of malfeasance in high office, should politicians be forced to resign their positions and face a criminal investigation? To get the thoughts of my panel on this now is Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, Reform UK councillor Jamie McIver and journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth. Thank you guys. Quite a serious story, this one, Carol. Shocking when I read it, actually. I was really shocked. We all had the feeling more was happening on this rape gang crisis affecting the country. We haven't heard a lot about London, just spurious reports here and there. This is a damning indictment on the Mayor of London, on the Met Police, perhaps, if this whistleblower's claims are true.
I mean, this is an incredible exclusive by my paper, The Express, by a guy called Zach Garner-Perkins, and it's incredible. He's saying that, you know, for 20 years now, grooming gangs have been running rife in London. The evidence that he has was beyond shocking. He submitted that to the Met Police and to a separate sexual abuse investigation. But what is really shocking about that film that you've just shown there was Khan trying to make a fool of Susan Hall, pretending he didn't understand. She couldn't have been clearer. But, 9 times he was asked, 9 times he refused to answer. And it's clear that this has been happening. Now, should he quit? He shouldn't be allowed to quit. He should be got rid of. Because if he did know about it and ignored it or covered it up, that's just beyond belief. If he didn't know about it, what the hell is he doing all day long in his job? It's his job to know when this is going on in his city. But Sadiq Khan has been the worst London mayor that we have ever had. The city is in a mess thanks to him. The transport system, TfL, 12.9 billion in debt. It's just appalling, the city. So the fact that he did what he did tells me that he maybe did know about it. But to reject an inquiry, what he's doing is putting these young girls in danger. And as Zach Garner-Perkins has actually said, by pretending this didn't happen, by saying it's lies, it's just, it's people making political trouble, he's actually disbelieving the victims, of which there are numerous statements from all these victims. So he's making them out to be liars as well, and for that he should be fired.
Benjamin, look, when we look at the entire country now, just zoom out from London a little bit, because this is a nationwide crisis. I'm pulling up London here because we haven't heard a lot about London. We've heard a lot about other parts of the country. Oldham screamed, their local council screamed for a national inquiry into rape gangs, but it was rejected for months by the Labour government. Are they going to be caught almost red-handed rejecting this until the public pressure was just too much? And should politicians resign if they're caught to be found being at least neglectful on this issue?
Well, on the original question of a national inquiry, we'd previously had a significant, very expensive, very long inquiry, which I think had made 20 recommendations, and none of those had been implemented, and Kemi Badenoch was the person, the Women and Equalities Minister, responsible for ignoring every single recommendation. So I think there was a perfectly legitimate reason to say, well, hang on, why don't we do what we've already been told to do first?
But
however, the national inquiry
did start watering some of the elements of that down, despite saying Keir Starmer started watering some of the elements of that bill down.
Well, a national inquiry is definitely the right thing to do because it sends the wrong message if it doesn't happen. But there were already loads of stuff for the government to fix and for councils to fix, which they weren't doing as it was. But on this, I mean, look, this guy has been asked by Keir Starmer to be a part of the national inquiry which is happening. So the kind of things he raises in this story will be considered and will be given as evidence. Now, the question then will be, were his Met Police colleagues knowingly, willfully ignoring the warnings he was sending?
Yes,
and that's what we need to find out.
He's actually said that is absolutely
and
the case.
I think this is a symptom of a far bigger problem. First of all, it can't be unnoticed that whenever there is a misjustice for victims, it always happens to be at the hands of Labour politicians, whether that's the councils, whether that's this current government, whether that's the Mayor of London. It is absolutely true, and all politicians who don't act are complicit, and the Conservatives are in no way clean hands on this, but it seems to always be Labour politicians that treat the victims with such contempt. Just look at what Lucy Powell said. The thought of her actually being Deputy Leader of the Labour Party freaks me out, because she is somebody, look at her attitude towards victims. These are not just any crimes. These are not pickpocketers. This is young girls whose lives will never, ever be the same. No prison sentence for a politician will ever, ever make these young girls' lives the same again. And I think we need to see politicians held to account.
Just quickly, because Lucy Powell, of course, did apologise for it, but
she said it. She said it. She said it.
Totally understand that.
If you say it, you said it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and Carol, what do you think should happen to politicians if they're found to be neglectful, or in which case this retired copper is saying that they need to be resign and perhaps
sacking should be the least thing that should happen to them, because and then what should really happen is prosecution. If you know that young girls' lives are being wrecked and the things that are happening to them that you've just read out just tonight, they should actually be prosecuted. And whoever in the Met Police said to John Wedger, if you reveal this, your career will be over, you will lose your house, your kids, everything, because you'll destroy the Met Police. Those people should very definitely be prosecuted, because that's the law breaking the law.
Yeah, Benjamin, it stinks of a cover-up, doesn't it? That's the problem. That's what most British people feel has happened here. And I can't point fingers at anybody because we don't know yet. Well, we don't know what's going to happen yet in this national inquiry. Do you think it's going to go far enough? And do you think people trust the police to be fair.
Well, it's going to take years, so it'll be very hard to judge how serious the inquiry is. But look, I will offer no defence of the failures for 15 years for councils, police, governments of two different stripes. But what I don't accept, and what is dangerous, is to try and use this as some party political football. That's not the way to answer it, because actually these victims don't ask for it to be treated in that way.
No.
They ask for everyone to treat
No
it
one
like
is saying that, but
well, there is, because that's what Jamie said.
No, I think
Jamie said it was only Labour politicians.
Well, what I will say is one of the biggest problems here is the police are not operationally independent. The police are controlled by politicians, whether that's the mayor, the Home Secretary. The policing is inconsistent. What should always come at first is the victims. But when you've got a mayor breathing down your neck who doesn't want these things to be revealed, obviously that's...
Can we just say, when you have a mayor who I believe is protecting the Muslim vote, he won't even say the word grooming gang because it offends his Muslim vote.
OK, well, we have to move on. A spokesperson for the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said this: the Mayor is committed to doing everything in his power to build a safer London for everyone, and has always been clear that all violence against women and girls must be treated with the utmost urgency, both by our police and society as a whole. A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police said, our data shows the most prevalent threat to children and young people in London is criminal exploitation, particularly recruitment into county line gangs. However, we are not complacent to other types of exploitation, such as offending by grooming gangs. We also accept this type of crime often goes underreported, and we are working to improve the quality of data we hold to ensure it's sufficiently comprehensive to enable us to make a definitive assessment about the issue. While this work takes place, our priority remains on supporting victims and investigating alleged offences by following the facts without fear or favour. Yeah, I think there's going to be a reckoning, isn't there? There's going to be a reckoning. But anyway,